Good evening, my people. How are you doing today? This evening, this good and bright and oh man, it is a nice evening, nice and cool, not too hot, not too cold. It is beautiful here in Atlanta. Ted, how's it going in Tampa, Florida
Oh
today?
man, Tampa, Florida is great, man. It's a little humid today, very, very hot, like up in the high 80s, low 90s today, and but I'm enjoying it because I love sunshine, and in Florida, it's always sunny, 95% of the time.
Well, I want to get to the most important thing, Ted, that I have here on my agenda is what's going on with Andrew, my friend.
Andrew, oh man, he's doing well, very well, and he's ahead in double figures, really, in all the polls. However, they're trying to really okey doke on him, trying to put all scandals on him and all that. I mean, a lot of people talking good things about him and things that he's saying. The only thing that's going to get him, in my opinion, is that he wants to, there's so many initiatives out there, amendments or whatever you want to call them, and people are trying to raise these taxes, these sales taxes, as far as getting more money. He wants to put a full penny on the education side. And some people in certain other things, they want to do a half a penny. So by the time they finish, we're going to be paying about 10% on sales tax because they need more money. But once he go in there and he find out the books and what they've been doing with all this money, like with the lotto money and all of this, the gambling money, once he finds out and he starts looking at those budgets and everything, he's gonna be moving some money around. You know, it's gonna be a big battle. So he's doing well, man. A lot of people are out there helping him and everything. I've called the office several times, went on the website and everything. I wanted to volunteer for phone duty, but ain't nobody got back to me yet, man. So oh, well, he don't need my help.
Mm. Now, Ted, you know what I think about that.
I know, I know.
You have to get out there, my brother, and go out and do your thing because most of the people and stuff who probably on his campaign, this may be their first time getting out and getting involved and stuff and trying to elect someone. And what happens is that your people and stuff who are on top, if they are new to uh, the politics and stuff of getting out to vote, they are overwhelmed and stuff a lot of times. So they depend upon the volunteers to be very knowledgeable about what needs to be done. And sometimes you just have to just go out there and just start doing some stuff, and they'll support you as far as going out and talking to people in your neighborhood, going out and maybe talking to the people in the block. I remember when I was out down there in 2012 in Obama's last election and everything. And in 2008 when he ran the first time, we talked to people and stuff in those blocks and those areas and stuff, and found that people who are who know about that neighborhood, and you talk to them and find out who we need to talk to convince to go out and vote, and then use them as our spokesperson, as our outreach and stuff into the community, and be able to find out what needs to be done. And also, a lot of times, set up a meeting and everything, and talk to your block people and stuff, and have them to set up a meeting, come into their homes and stuff, and sit down and talk to them about what's going on out there, what they need to do, and things about what Andrew and stuff wants to do, because you said that he's trying to raise the taxes up and everything, but he needs to find out what happened to all that money that they're getting and stuff into their coffer from the gambling. Well, I think Andrew and probably a whole lot of other people know what's going on with that
Oh yeah.
money that's coming in off the gambling money, and they already put that money back into the general fund.
Mhm.
So they can have tax cuts and stuff for these rich people. So it's
because
something that you just
already know. You know what they did this week. They did another tax cut for $3.2 trillion.
But it only passed the House. It only passed the House, so it's nothing. You know, since the Republicans are in strong control of the House and everything, yet they can push stuff like that through. But in the Senate and stuff, they got a little bit different animal and stuff. They need 60 votes and stuff to do it, and there's enough Democrats to stop anything that's going on. So they did pass it, but it'll probably never reach Trump's desk at all. It'll probably die in committee there for the Senate. So I wouldn't worry about it.
You keep saying stuff like that, you know, but then they end up getting what they want, just like they got that last tax cut.
Well, that was something that they really pushed through. And if you actually look at it and stuff, Ted, the Senate and stuff and everything pull off some maneuvers and stuff, some of those McConnell dirty trick stuff and everything to get it so they can pass it with a simple majority. Well, this tax cut they just enacted and stuff in the House and everything, they passed it through a majority, but it's not the same type of a bill that they can get through the Senate because it has to have 60 votes and stuff there, and he can't maneuver around that 60 vote thing and everything. He can't get it down to where a majority can pass it and stuff in the Senate so they can get it through. But when they did that tax cut back in December and stuff, the House and the Senate worked together, Republican worked together so they can draft that bill and everything so it would meet that 51 vote threshold and stuff in the Senate. Well, this thing right here wasn't drafted along with the Senate and stuff and everything, so it will meet that threshold. So it's not going to make it. Now they did pass that budget and stuff and everything, and Trump went ahead and signed it and stuff and everything, but that didn't mean a lot and everything. There wasn't any tax cuts and stuff involved in that.
It was only extended.
They just gave a lot more money to the military.
That's it. Well,
but anyway, man, getting back to and this is important, Ted. I wouldn't be pushing this stuff on through here, but I got 4 topics here, and all it talks about is getting out to vote, getting people out there to vote, and the importance and stuff of people getting out there, whether it's voting for your local candidates, for your state candidates, and for your federal candidates and stuff out there going for the House or the Senate or whatever. People need to get out there and vote, man. I'm telling you, we cannot let this go by. And every time they have an election, they always say, this is the most important election that we can ever have. And I've heard that for year after year after year after year. But and then sit down there, that ain't important. It ain't important. You say that every year. Well, I'm telling you, man, if 45 can keep both of them houses together and he stays in office there, you see the damage he's done in 2 years. He gonna be to do a heck of a lot more damage because he gonna think that he's got a mandate if they can keep the House and the Senate and stuff intact under Republican power. We gonna be in disastrous trouble. Man. And going into this 2020 election and stuff for the president, if he keeps both of them things going on, man, we're not gonna be able to stop him. They're not gonna be able to put a foot on his neck to hold him down or to do anything, because we already know that the Republican stuff are not going to do anything to stop Trump. And you know what 45 stuff does, Ted. You know, and I'm telling you, I can see it's eating you up.
Well,
it's eating you up, man. If he still has that Senate and that House, you think he's eating you up now?
He's a man with a mission. Take all the money he can. But you know, I was just reading an article saying that he lost his net worth lost $1 billion since he's been president. However, he's already laid the foundation as far as making more money. You know, he's laying the foundation for him and his family to make more money. They're quiet about what they're doing, so you know they should have a Trump watch, money watch, something like that. Because I mean, this man he's spending money on himself, taxpayer money like crazy, living like a trillionaire. You know, he's got security. He can golf 2 couple of times a week, and he's got all the security, and he does whatever he want to, travel wherever he wanted, whenever, and he's spending taxpayer money like as a sailor, and no Republican is saying a word about it. He just spent almost $100 million already just for golfing, and he charges anybody when he stays at his hotel. He charges all his agents, all whatever, 50 of them, 100 of them, whatever, how many it is, charges them for a room and board, and he gets the money. His hotel gets the money. Now, you know, you might say that's chump change, but the point is he's making money. He's making money, and he's going to make deals because he didn't help all his oligarchies and multimillionaires and billionaires cut all their taxes. So it's going to be payback. Because you can bet your bottom dollar, going to say, you guys owe me. I got that tax bill done. You watch. So, and he's hurting us. He's hurting us, man. I mean, when you look at it, people don't realize, man, that all the things that he's doing, all of these cutting back all of these different things, and it's going to hurt the American people in the long run. People looking at right now, the stock market is up, jobs are down, all of that is wonderful. But the bottom line is, when you start looking at all the things that he's doing and all of these tariffs and all of that, and now they're getting ready to do something with Iran. I don't know what it is, because they didn't notify a 1955 treaty with Iran. What's that about? Can you tell me what's that about? They nullified that treaty, and they've already said they're out on the agreement that they was doing with what President Obama had set up. But everybody else is consistently trying to work with them. The UN have already came into play and told them this is inhumane. This is not humanitarian. You cannot starve a people. You cannot stop doing trading with these people because they need trade and what have you. They didn't call the United States on the carpet.
Well,
they're making enemies, man, in their little ways, because you got to have a war. That's what they got to have, man. And they want a war with Iran.
They're not going to have a war and stuff here. Trump is not going to be able to get no war started. And the reason why he's not going to be able to get a war started, if you go back, you know, you got to go back to history and stuff in here. In 2001, when they attacked the Twin Towers and stuff, the only people that went along with Bush and stuff to the whole thing, he had to make a plea and stuff to the world to come and help to get someone to come in and help them to fight Iraq. Well, he finally got Great Britain to come in and do that. But right now and stuff, Ted, you got all those countries and stuff there in the European Union. You got Russia, you got China. All of them are still trading with Iraq, and according to them, they're going to continue to do it, and they don't care what Trump has to say.
You mean with Iran?
Yeah, but Iran, they already told them, they already told Iran, said, we're gonna trade with you. We're gonna figure out a way where the United States cannot stop you from using banks for taking your money and do whatever you got to do and stuff and everything to keep yourself going. So Iran is sitting up there, they're in a catbird seat right now, and Trump is sitting out there waging a war of words and stuff with himself because nobody else is listening to him in the UN or nowhere.
Well,
And
you know what that's all about.
You saw what happened to him, man, in the UN. He walked up there and told him people all that stuff, and they sat there and laughed in his face. it never in the history of this country, since the UN has been in existence, man, since the 1950s when they first started and stuff, have a president of this country stood before them and spoke, and they laughed at him.
Yeah. Yeah.
This never happened before. They laughed at him. They sat down there, ha, 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 ha. It pissed him off. He didn't say anything, but he kept on talking. So you can't have people, if you're a world leader, to laugh at you. They think you a joke. And he is. He's a joke out there. You look at what's going on and stuff now. He has a tiny bit of power, Ted. They finally went ahead and passed that NAFTA thing, where they got Canada and Mexico.
It's all the same. Man.
Right. That's what I know. We all know that, Ted. He just put his name on it. That was it. Nothing changed. Everything stayed the same. Nothing changed. But when he did that, it stabilized the stock market because they didn't want to have the United States sitting out there fighting and everything against all the rest of those countries. Then you got destabilization and stuff. And destabilization is not good for the stock market because you don't know what's going to happen. Most of those people up there on Wall Street, Ted, they like stuff to be stable. They don't like, they don't like stuff bouncing around and everything. They get nervous. And everybody does. Everybody gets nervous. The money people get nervous because they know they might lose. They want things where they know where it's going to be.
Because products have to be moved and sold and bought and all of that. And they want to know, make sure, because what they putting their money in is investing. And if they're going to invest in General Motors or Ford or whoever, or even the animal market, or what they call it, the stock market, the animal market, I forget the name of what they call it, commodity market, they're going to have to basically know what's going on, and that's going to be
right.
So,
but still
changed though.
Like you just,
let me tell you what changed.
Yeah, but still like
I'm telling you what changed. Right? The pharmacy. They made some laws. I haven't read all of it yet, but they made some changes in the pharmacy because, it used to be where Americans can buy stuff over in Canada because their medications are a lot cheaper. And so they made some changes in that. And I got to find out what the deal is on that. But that's one of the big changes. And then they also made some changes on increasing salary for those people in Mexico. Those are two changes, which were good changes, as far as that goes for increasing. But the pharmacy, though, that means the farmer here in America, they're going to be making more money because people are going to say, well, if your price is the same as Merkel or whatever, and then I can just buy it here, and then that's going to be less medication bought over in Canada.
But
that's my 2 cents on that.
I don't think that those people in Canada, those pharmaceutical folks in Canada, is going to actually agree with that and everything, because they still going to have their stuff, because they can't. Their people, the Canadians and stuff, are there to deal with their prices and stuff, and they're not going to have their prices to go up because the cost of drugs in the United States have gone up. They're not going to do that. So yeah, you're probably right about that they might be able to try to stop that, but there's still going to be a lot of people, man, who are going to cross that border, man, and buy their medicine over there in Canada and stuff and come and bring it back here in the United States. It's going to be difficult for them to stop that. I'm telling you, it's
Well, they have roadblocks. They have roadblocks. You got any medication?
They've been getting drugs across the daggone borders, man. The southern and the northern borders for decades. And stuff. They're not going to stop. They're not going to stop that. They're not going to stop that. They got too much other stuff going on. They got people out there, man. Police officers and stuff and everything being paid off to bring stuff across the border. That man, they got all. They're not going to stop it. I'm telling you, black market going to be thriving. But anyway, it's Trump wanted to put his name on it instead of Clinton's name because Clinton was the first one that started NAFTA in the first place.
Well, initiated with the Bush, with George H. Bush.
HW, yeah. Well, he tried to get it and stuff, but Clinton finally he was the one that actually finally got it enacted because the unions and stuff in the United States back then in the 90s and stuff was fighting after like cats and dogs was out there. So it's
yeah. I mean, right now the unions man is below. Right now it's right around 5-6% right now across the country. 30 years ago, 40 years ago, it used to be 30%.
Well, I think they're getting ready to take a foothold in some of these industries and stuff around here now because a lot of people and stuff, Ted, who are working in these jobs and stuff. You notice over there in Las Vegas, man, they had a big strike there in Las Vegas, and the unions and stuff negotiated, and they ended their strike there in Las Vegas and stuff. And all those people over there in Las Vegas, man, who were service workers and stuff like that, got a raise. They negotiated a big raise and stuff for them over there. So they still got some viability and stuff here in this country and stuff. They're not completely dead. So, but
talking about raises, Ed.
Huh?
Your boy just raised up. He raised Amazon raised all the
I know it, man, because I was just getting ready. I was just getting ready to touch up on that, Tig, because I remember you earlier today. You were telling me that old Bernie done embarrassed old Jeffy boy into raising the wages up for over 300, almost 400,000 workers here around the country. And
that's a lot of extra money he got to pay out, bro.
Hey, Ted, he can afford it.
Yeah, he can afford it.
Have you gauged what they did a survey and stuff and said Obezo every hour he makes some untold amounts of money, man.
The richest man in the world now. He passed Bill Gates.
He making what, 10 or 12 $1 million every hour. Damn, you can afford to give away, pay your employees some more money. You making that kind of money.
and the thing about it, I mean, $15 is better than $8.
Better than $7. And then what happens is stuff. He came forth and everything and said that he's going to try to work with some of these other companies out there to get that minimum wage raised up from $7.25 an hour to at least close to 15. So even though he did that, he's still working to get that done. He's trying to help other companies out there to pay more money to them. And most of them tell you that they can afford it.
Yes, they can.
They can afford it. It ain't like, man, it's going to break that company. I don't care what them Republicans are saying. That's a job killer. So that's not a job killer.
Yeah, as long as people buying products. As long as people buying products.
You're giving people money so they can buy your products.
Did you hear about the latest news, though?
They can't buy your products, huh?
Did you hear about the latest news? This is breaking news here. Breaking news.
What's that?
Your boy Sanders, Bernie, plans to break up Wall Street. He's going to break up Wall Street, and Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and B of A, Bank of America, Citigroup, Wells Fargo, and Morgan Stanley. And the reason why he's doing this is because he wants to avoid future taxpayer bailouts. He's also going to tackle some insurance companies too. Metropolitan Life and Prudential Financial. He said combined, all of these companies have assets of $13 trillion.
Oh, man, they might have more than that, Ted. They might have more than that.
So think about it. I mean, this guy he's doing the right things. You know, he's calling these corporations out and making it better for the people and protecting the people. He might be more powerful now if he was, than the president, because he's calling these people out, because he's got his whole following all over the country, and he's speaking out. And the TV people are putting them on the air and everything. So he's calling these people out, man. They're gonna have to break up these companies, because a lot of these companies, what they do. They write checks, they do loans, all these banks now, they're just like a finance, these stock market companies, and the banks they all do all the same thing. And what was that, Glass-Steagall? That's the reason why Glass-Steagall, they cut that out, because Glass-Steagall kept the banks as the banks and the stock market as the stock market. And so now what he wants to do, and you even got insurance companies now doing checking accounts and investments and all that too. So he's gonna break this stuff up, man. He's gonna break it up. And he's putting it in, he's gonna make it a legislation. And he's gonna be preaching this thing. This thing is gonna be, and I don't know if it's good for the country or not. I don't know. I really don't. I'll be honest with you. Because, like a lot of people just like one-stop shopping, You go to if you go to the bank, you might do your stock, you buy your stock with that bank. You got your checking account with that bank. You got your retirement with that bank. You got everything with that bank. And a lot of people like to do that. So I don't know. I don't know if it's going to work out or not, because I've been doing it for years now.
Well, I think this thing that he's talking about dealing with, if this is actually true or not, he is talking about doing something and everything that it's going to be a lot harder than bothering old Jeffy boy.
Oh yeah. We talking big time.
It's going to be a lot, because there's a difference between Jeffy boy and the rest of them son of guns who are running those companies that you were talking about. Jeffy boy has a conscience.
Yeah.
These boys, they don't have no conscience. They have no conscience whatsoever.
They don't care about you. They'll lay off 20,000 people in a minute.
They pocket as they can. They don't care about that person out there who is making them money, who is grunt working and all this other stuff. They don't care about them, man. Jeff cares about his people.
No, you're absolutely right, man. These types of companies that I just named, man. Because I retired, semi-retired from Bank of America, and let me tell you, almost every year, they laid off 10,000 people. And everybody was wondering.
Look at what Wells Fargo did. They owned people who had accounts with them. They put false, they put out something like 5 or 6 million false accounts out there for their people and stuff in the bank. These people don't care about their people. These are their people and stuff who have accounts at their bank. Yeah. And they falsely put out over 5 million false accounts and stuff in their name.
Yeah, they put additional accounts up there. And next thing you know, they're getting credit cards and they get bank accounts and all that stuff, and sending it in the mail. And I didn't order this. What is this? I got me an extra credit card.
Yeah, man. Got somebody, they do it to their company so they can make more money.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't care about their people, man. They don't. Oh man, they have no conscience. But there's a difference in Jeff. You can look at him and say he has a conscience, man. He's got a conscience, but the rest of them don't. They ain't got no conscience at all. They don't care, you know. And you have them out there, man. They out there all over the place. All Bank of America, Wells Fargo, all them all you talked about. They don't have no conscience, none whatsoever. So anyway, I wish all of Amazon's employees very well, and that come November 1st, they can receive a raise. So come Christmas time and Thanksgiving, they can buy a few more turkeys and a few more gifts for their family.
Yeah. I'm happy for them. I'm happy for them.
Absolutely. I'm gonna do a little personal thing here and stuff, Ted. I'm getting rid of some property that I have and moving myself into downsizing, you might say.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I went and I got to take all my stuff out of my downsized place and everything, and still got some more stuff there, and I got to go and get it out of there. So I can't put it in my house because my wife won't let me do it. So I had to buy a storage shed. I was at the storage shed today, and I was talking to the lady and everything who was in charge of the manager of the storage area and stuff. And I told her what you and I do. Mm-hmm. And she said, "What's the name of that your website?" And I told her what it was and what we did. She said, "Oh my God." She said, "I'm hoping that you have a lot of people out there who are really actually listening to what you say, because some of the things you just told me that you guys are doing, man, it is very valuable and stuff." Oh man, I'm glad you told me this. And I was talking to her about money and how, you know, you can save money and do some things and stuff with your money, getting people and stuff together who are working together to create, you know, financial power. And she thought that was an excellent idea, and that she was going to get out and start talking to some of her friends. You know, she doesn't make a lot of money. She was working at a little minimum job and everything, but she thought that was an excellent idea to get people to do that. Now, she is a white lady. So I'm hoping that some of our people get the same enthusiasm and stuff on what we're talking about to them and stuff every Wednesday and Saturday morning, that some of the ideas that come from us and our talking here will help them out and to make them more profitable and everything. So
yeah, I agree, man. You know, because really when you follow the money, and then at the same time you have solutions as far as combating, you know, like if you're not getting your fair share of the funds that are available, that's when you should be really engaged. Like you mentioned, Ed, the importance of voting. You know, I mean, you cannot emphasize that any. I mean, that has to be hollered out the windows. Vote, because, and then you got to study, because tomorrow, this is what I'm going to do tomorrow. I'm going to the voting place, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up all the materials so I can read and study it. And I'm gonna do my early voting, and I'm gonna read that all over the weekend, and then come next Monday, I'm voting. Mm-hmm. So the point is that the main thing is get your vote out early, so you have to stand in those lines. A lot of people say, "Well, I like to do that because it makes me feel, you know, like I'm more engaged because I'm standing in line." No, get your vote in and get it done and be done with it. And then what I might do, you know, if somebody need a ride to the bowling poles, I'll drop them off and come back and pick them up. You know, it don't matter. But what I'm saying is basically get out there and vote so that you don't wait till the last minute. You know, so the voting. But
that voting, Ted, is very, very important in everything, because you need to have people who are sitting up there in the positions of power, who are not only thinking about the folks who got money, but the people and stuff who are down there, who are every day going to work and they're grinding things out because they need some things and stuff to help them to make their life easier.
That's right.
They need programs and stuff out there that's going to help them get across or whatever. They need to have infrastructure and stuff instead of selling it to the highest bidder. So they can build private roads and stuff and charge you all kinds of money so you can speed up and down the highway. they need people like that and stuff there who can fight this net neutrality stuff that's going on. And
Oh, you said a word
I
there.
have an article and stuff that I put out. You know, California has already enacted their own net neutrality laws, and the federal government is already filing a lawsuit to stop them.
Mm-hmm.
But those things are very important and stuff for you, because the internet is a free and open area and stuff, and it has always been free and open. And to get people to take it and to use it to create more wealth and stuff for these internet's access folks and stuff out there is just ridiculous. And to make you pay more money so you can have access to what you need to have access to, that's not right. And a lot of times and stuff, Ted, that's the only way that most of us can do some things. We can go out there and fill out an application on the internet, and you got a job application, so you don't have to spend all your money and stuff driving your car over there and creating smog and whatever. You can go on the internet and sit right at your home and fill out your application and be able to talk to your potential employee right from your home, and doesn't have to go out there. So you don't have to go out there and spend money and put those fumes all up in the air and create, problems and stuff in climate change. We need to have all kinds of things that are going on, and that infrastructure, Ted, is very important. Those highways and streets and roads and stuff we have out there that are just falling apart. The bridges are falling apart, and it's up to the government to do that, because when you have private entity and stuff out there doing it, all they're going to do is gouge people.
That's it.
That's all they're going to do. They're going to gouge in the name of profit.
And cut costs too.
Mm-hmm.
Cut costs.
Absolutely. So that's why it's that's why it's important to get out there and vote. And and a really important thing that people that done looked out, the water. You got to have clean water and stuff, and everybody has seen what happened to Flint, Michigan. There's a lot of other places, man, that the water is just as bad.
Over 1,100 days, Flint, Michigan has been dealing with this terrible water over 1,100 days. That is ridiculous.
Almost 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, man. But here's the thing that I'm gonna tell you what's the big thing now that's going on, and a lot of people don't realize this. Plastic is being attacked. Plastic straws, plastic bags, plastic, because plastic does not disintegrate as well as some of these, like wood and stuff like that. It doesn't go into it. And then what happens is a lot of people, they said tons and tons of plastic is all over the ocean. And these fish and dolphins and all these different kinds of animals are looking at it like it's food, and they end up swallowing it, and then they end up getting killed, suffocating. So plastic right now, they're trying to get rid of that industry right now because, they'll probably never get rid of it. It'll always be some form of plastic used. But the point is that they're trying to cut back on that. That's another thing that's because it's not biodegradable. So a lot of people are they're fighting that plastic thing, and which I think is a good thing. I'd rather use paper bags anyway. But when you're using paper bags, then you cut the wood. So you can't win. You can't win because you need trees. So
well, there are other things and stuff, Ted, that can create a market for someone other than having the plastic and stuff there, because you're right. You put plastic out in the landfill and it stays there for 40, 50, 60 years. And it still is not, doesn't, degrade and stuff to the point to where you can take it and be able to build houses and stuff on it, or whatever you want to do. Which stuff is still there. It's not good for the environment. And people knew that when they first started using plastic to put their stuff in, because it's easier, it doesn't break and everything. So instead of having a glass bottle, because when we were younger and stuff, most of this our soft drinks and everything were in a bottle,
That's right.
glass bottle.
Oh, and I used to get 5 cents a bottle too.
Right. And your milk, most of all your stuff was your perishable stuff was in a glass bottle.
That was a hustle
And glass.
when
Yeah.
we was kids.
Yeah.
Remember that? I don't know if you ever did.
Yeah, I remember.
I used to have my little wagon, man, and I'd be walking around looking for bottles, man. I have a whole wagon full of bottles, and I end up with a couple of dollars.
Mm-hmm. And some of them you got 2 cents, some of you got 1 cent, depending on how big it was.
A lot of them you got nickels when you get them big bottles. You're always looking for them big beer bottles, you know, the quarts of beer bottles.
So we as young folks and stuff found businesses. We were like, and nowadays what you call a young startup. We created our own business and stuff out there and to make money, because we knew how to get out there and find some kind of way to make some money, whether it's going down to the high and low store and taking whole people's and stuff groceries up to the third floor.
Man, that was a big hustle.
And and buying you go down there and buy you a wagon and stuff. You know, a wagon might cost you what, $3 or $4. You get you a wagon and put it together, and shoot, you can make some money. Just sit outside the store on Fridays and Saturdays. Man, can I take your groceries?
You need help?
You need the help? You need the help? I'll take your groceries down there for you. Okay, young man.
But
he's a good boy.
Think about this though, man. You know, since they did this new campaign, and they've been doing it for years now, you know, like in your trash now, you dump your different articles and different different sectors, you know, and you got your paper, you got your aluminum, and you got your regular garbage and what have you. Mm-hmm. Now that used to be a hustle, you know, and the same thing with the groceries now. What are they doing now? People now, you know, they got a thing now where you can sign up for different, Uber and Lyft, and you can just deliver food.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll call you up and say, "Well, I got you for a pickup," and then you charge them. Well, I don't know how much they make per delivery, but they go in and pick up the food and they deliver it to the people, and there it is. And you can just make money just like that. But you got to have a car.
Yeah, you got to have a car.
So that makes it more expensive to make that hustle.
Yeah, and then you have to be, if you are really innovative and you think about what's going on, instead of picking up one order, you might want to pick up enough to fill the whole back end of your car up, and then as you go, just drop them all off and everything to the customers and stuff, so they can. At least you can make a little bit more money by doing that instead of just taking one order and going there and then coming back.
Well, how does that
almost
work?
like delivering pizza. Well, you have to be in a certain geographical area, and anybody who's in that geographical area, you don't drive no 20 miles and stuff to do it. You know, the most they probably drive is maybe 4 or 5 miles because you stay within that geographical area, and then anybody who's in that geographical area, that's where they deliver at. You don't go outside their geographical area, which saves them a little bit of money and a little bit of time doing that stuff. So you can't afford to just take maybe one order, 2 orders and stuff then. But you have to build up a client base and everything within that area, so it'd be worthwhile to have a service and stuff like that. But that's something that we have to contend with and everything, because I'm looking at one day and stuff having a drone come over here and deliver my stuff and everything to my house.
It can happen. It can happen at any time you order. You never know when it's going to happen.
Oh, yeah, it's
doing it already. You're doing it already.
It's coming, Ted. It's coming.
Yeah, on a regular basis.
Yeah, these things, man, are getting more and more and more sophisticated, and the prices of these things, man, are coming down to where people and stuff, these things can do wonders and stuff and everything for all kinds of stuff. And man, I seen some things, man, that I can believe, man. These insurance companies and adjusters and stuff now using these drones and stuff and everything to do a lot of their work that they weren't doing, climbing up on stuff, going inside little spots and everything, and doing measurements and checking out the damage and stuff inside these homes or whatever. So they use drones now to do it. They bring that drone right up, let it fly up. They can go inside the homes and stuff. If there's a fire in there, they can go in there and take pictures and stuff of what's going on. Whereas before, you had to walk in there into a dangerous area. Now the drone goes in there and does it. So it's
so think about this, Ed. You know, the one thing, and I think we did a show on this, all the different new types of jobs that are available now for people that are not trained as far as you know, professionally trained, and those people that don't have a college degree and whatever, and they can create their own jobs. You know, we should really check that out, because and redo that show, because we did I think that was a good show. We were just showing all the different kinds of businesses that you can start now that takes very little money, you know. Mm-hmm. I think that would be a great show that we can do, because right now you got 18-year-olds to 25-year-olds, even 30-year-olds now. You know, a lot of the guys and women don't want to be customer service people. They don't want to be clerks, you know, working at a cash register all day, standing up. So, you know, we got to get creative, you know, and that's the thing. Come up with some creative ideas of looking at not only just starting your own business, but creating something that is needed, you know, because we live in America now. And when you live in America, you come up with, you know, you see something that's going, maybe you can improve it, you know, make it better, because that's what it's all about. That's what everything is basically all about. It's just looking at what to improve it. When the laptop came out, everybody thought that was a joke, you know, so to speak, but they didn't know eventually it was going to be wireless, you know, and so now you're carrying around all kinds of little laptops and other, what do you call those other little things you got? You got one of them too, Ed. What do you call those little computers? Tablets. Yeah, the little tablets now, you know, and all that stuff. So, you know, and you got your phone. When we was coming up, we had to stop and say, we got to find a phone. We had to stop our car and park.
You got to get a beeper. You got to get a beeper, man. What's that number on that beeper? Beep, beep, beep. Oh, I got to call.
The beeper didn't come out until what, in the late 70s or the early 80s, 80s, somewhere like that?
That's ancient history.
I know it. Because I only used the beeper one time in my job when I was working in advertising outside sales, and I had to have one because my clients or customers might be calling me. But other than that, and then you still had to stop at the phone and call and see what the client wanted. Mm-hmm. And then when you got the cell phone, and then they got us a cell phone, Ed. You remember those when they first made those?
Big old thing with that big old antenna on it, that great big old.
That thing,
man, you put it on your ear.
You know how much they charge those companies for that, man? They was charging us $400 or $500 a month for those things, to use those things.
That was the times and stuff, because if the supply is not big enough, then they're gonna charge you for it. That's almost like the drones and stuff. You can't buy one now for less than what, $2,000 or $3,000. But now they're coming down to $1,000 because there's so many.
I see a drone for $99. I see one for $99 at Walmart.
Man, that's a little toy. you got a kid's toy.
That's a toy.
That's a kid's toy. You got a little kid's toy. Somebody gonna go up about 10 foot and come back down, and it won't stay in the air but about 2 minutes. They got these things now for like $500 and stuff. They can stay in the air for at least a half an hour. They can ride out for about a quarter of a mile or 2 miles out, and they got these high definition cameras and stuff on them that they can take some pictures, man, that's out of sight. So anyway, that's what's going on and stuff nowadays, and like you said, we need to have another program and stuff talking about jobs and stuff, what's out there, being able to create some things that's going on. I have a young man and stuff who was out there and stuff now and stuff, and we have a lot of kids, man, in our community and stuff who have talent, all kinds of talent. A lot of them know how to draw. A lot of them knows how to make things and stuff and everything, and use their hands and stuff to do some things with. And they need to learn how to use those talents and everything to make money for themselves. I was talking to a young man the other day, Tuesday, I think it was, and he was looking for a job, trying to find someone to work in construction and stuff. But his mom said, "Hey, my son can draw. He knows how to draw and make pictures and stuff like that." And I asked him, "Hey, man, have you got a portfolio?" And he said, "No, I don't." I said, "Well, you need to put together a portfolio. Whenever you're not doing anything, instead of going out and getting in trouble, sit down and get you some canvas and everything and start drawing your pictures and stuff out or whatever, because art is everywhere."
That's right. And it's important. Art,
yeah, it's everywhere. You go into a doctor's office, people's homes, everybody got a piece of artwork on the wall.
And then if you got so many pieces, Ed, you can go to these, they call them these little vendors. You can be a vendor and you, let's say you got 25, 50 pieces. You can carry those pieces right there, put them on and go to these vending
on display.
Put them on display.
And people,
one
people
piece
like
for $100. You'd have made yourself $100. You know, you might sell
more than that.
Yeah,
more than that. Depending on the artwork and what you got going on, because and like I told him, man, artwork is everywhere. Art is everywhere.
Yeah,
you name it, it's there. You know, in the doctor's office, in the hotels and the motels, and people's offices and stuff, in the banks or whatever you walk into. Every place you walk into, man, there's art on the wall.
Yeah, and you see that this one piece of art was worth. They sold it for $480 million.
It may not, their work may not get to be that famous and everything, but it's somewhere where you can start using your talent to put a little money in your pocket, a little extra money. You know, you may not be able to live off of it, but it's some money that you can make on the weekend or periodically. You walk in somebody's place and say, "Hey, man, I got something that would go on your wall, man, that we're going to set this thing off." And bring it up in there and say, "Hey, man, put this on your wall." Bam! And look up there and you say, "Man, that is nice." Now, how much is that worth to you? $500? Can I get $1,000 for putting it up on your wall? He might say, "Yeah, man, let's negotiate. I'll give you $400 for it." So that's $400 more than what the heck he had. He can put that in his pocket.
It might have took you a couple hours to do that. It might have took you a couple hours.
Absolutely.
$400 for a couple hours is good.
Right. And so you know how we used to do, Ted. We would hustle. Go out there and tell people about that. So if you got something and you sincere about it, you can convince somebody to buy your stuff.
That's right.
If nothing else, go into some of these rich neighborhoods and stuff and walk around and with your paintings and stuff, we'll whip you and everything and say, "Hey, I got these paintings and stuff. You think you might be interested in stuff?" And as you knock on the door and you talk to them about what you're doing. "I'm a young man here. I'm trying to make it." And you remember, Ted, when they used to sell encyclopedias. They used to walk around, man, to doors and knock on the door. "I'm trying to stay in school and everything, and this is what I'm doing to stay in school." And a lot of people, man, will buy a whole set of encyclopedias just to help the kid out.
That's right.
You know, so they hustle, man. You got to get out. You don't sit around and complain. Get out.
Yeah.
Get ideas in your head.
Getting back to the art thing, though, man, the one thing that is big right now, if you're a character type artist and you can create your own characters, you know, have a distinguished look. You can tell
games,
a story.
Man, they got these video games, man, that these people are paying money for these characters and stuff, you know, different characters inside the video game. And you can draw different characters. People can these companies will buy these characters and stuff and put them inside the video game.
That's
and
right.
if you're good at it and everything and doing different characters and stuff for them, that they don't like the same characters all the time. Kids like the games to change. Next year, we're going to have different characters and stuff and everything that's going to be running around doing the same old thing, jumping over
the thing about it, these gamers, man, they follow these characters like you
know, you remember when my son was growing up, man, he used to love Pokemon. And there used to be like 500 or 600 of these Pokemon characters and stuff. And he knew all of them. He was, "This is Pukitaka Tuku. This is Tukataka." No, man, I don't want to hear that. He wasn't up but 4 years old, man, 5 years old.
Yep. Yep.
He still got Pokemon characters and stuff sitting around. And Ted, them Pokemon characters, man, are trading, and he making money off of them things, buddy.
Yeah, yeah. That's the whole thing.
Man, he sold a couple of them, man. He said, Dad, I made $500 off of that one. I said, what? Heck, man, when we bought them, they was only like $30.
I know, because my oldest son used to be a Star Wars collector. And a comic book collector. Yeah. And you know, comic books, man, is huge.
Memorabilia, that memorabilia, man. People pay for that memorabilia. It's worth some money. So, hey, Ted, like we are saying here, people out there, there's all kind of ways of making money. You guys, if you guys notice anything, look behind me. There's a picture back there, sitting back there behind me and stuff. Somebody drew that thing and made a picture out of it. My wife took that and took a picture of it and sent it to I think it's Schlossberg or somewhere and everything, and they told her that picture is valuable. They told her they get back with her, and she said, and she asked him about how much. He said, you're looking at about $1,500 for that picture. Now, we got that from her uncle's house. He had it up on his wall, and I couldn't believe it. I said, what? We better sell that thing, but I got it behind me now. It's sitting back there, you know, all nice and pretty.
Very distinguished, because you know that's what I was raised up on, man. Out there in Hopkins, man. What are you talking about? That was that well water was the best water.
Well water was the best water you could get, huh?
That was the best water I ever had.
You gotta go out there and pump that pump, man. Grab that pump so you get some well water. Nice and cool. Yep.
Hey, I want to sort of kind of change the subject on. We talking about innovators and creators. What is going on with your boy Elon Musk? What is going on with him, man? This guy, he's I don't know.
Well, he lost his chairmanship. He's only the CEO now, so he's still got a little power he's wiggling around there. I think what happened is that in the world of Wall Street, there's a certain decorum that you have to have. And when you aren't displaying that decorum that most of the folks there on Wall Street wants you to have, and they get excited about that and they try to control what happens, just like they always been doing. Because, you know, you look at all those big companies like Apple and Amazon and Microsoft and Google and everything. Actually, the CEOs and the chairman and stuff don't actually run those companies. Wall Street runs them because they control the stock market and what happens with your stock prices. So Elon had gotten out of hand. So they got together with the SEC. So we got to control this son of a gun, because he falsely predicted that he was going to take his company private. Now, when Michael Dell did that and took his company Dell private, they didn't fight him. They didn't talk about him really bad or whatever and everything. Elon was serious, but he didn't have the power to take his company and stuff private. He didn't have that muscle, that borrowing power, and those money people backing him up to take his thing private. So because he did that, they said he manipulated the stock, because once he said he was going to do it, the stock prices went crazy and everything. So, and then he turned around and said, well, I can't do it. Well, he couldn't do it because he couldn't get anybody to follow him, which is normal. Nobody want to follow you. It's not going to happen. So they just beat him over the head and everything because he opened his mouth and said something. And they're saying that he did this on purpose and stuff to manipulate the stock. Wall Street runs these companies. They're not on the board, but they run these companies because they control those stock prices. That's what happened, Ted. Okay.